Hello. You can be green, it's fine, I just missed you. Hi Kira, hi Sawyer, hi Ragdoll. How we doing? Get some music up, I didn't really plan for this, so just using my normal chill music playlist. Blue dab dee dab dab. Hello, 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 and welcome to not Ace Attorney. This is not Ace Attorney, it is too hot. I have windows open so that I can not be as hot. And that means I'm not going to do loud, silly voices. So instead, I thought I'd take us back to something we did quite a while ago. Swoosh. I don't suppose people remember this. This was from apparently 4 years ago. Did not feel like 4 years ago, but whatever. So we did a similar thing for Dark Souls and Elden Ring, where I tried to draw all of the bosses from all of those games from memory, and then rank them. Ranking stuff, exactly. We are going to... I have made a list. Here it is. Of every villain and monster from Doctor Who that I've seen. And we are going to randomly pick them and rank them. And draw them. From memory, because why not? We won't get through this list because it's like 120 long, so if we do the whole thing, it'll take a few streams. Let's do it! Yeah. But we will have to do something before that, which is we have to calibrate this scale. A scale is worth nothing if you don't know what is its extremes. So we're going to begin, well, I'm going to begin by moving things to a drawing position. Hang on. Yeah. Drawing tablets are heavy. Well, I Torchwood or the Sarah Jane Chronicles. Alas, I have not seen either of those shows. So we're also not doing any novels or Big Finish productions or Wilderness Years stuff or comics or any of the really terrible video games. We're just doing the TV show of Doctor Who that I've seen. Which, to be fair, is only about 40%. But that's more than your average person, so what are you going to do? So, we're going to calibrate. We're going to start by adding what I think is the bottom of this scale. So I went through my entire list to try and find out what I think is the worst of all of the things on the list, and there's some competition. But I have decided to go... See if anyone can guess what it is. That's about it. Does anyone remember? Who here has had familiarity with Doctor Who? And if so, who remembers the blob on the ceiling? Specifically on the ceiling, this thing's upside down. I don't think it has eyes. I think it's just a blob. Part of the reason it's bad. Right. Don't remember? This, as I'm sure you're all intimately familiar, is the Jagrafess. Anyone who watched the reboot of the show when it came back in 2005, I think? This was in the first series. This was right up there. This was their best foot forward. A blob on the ceiling. It was in an episode set in a space station, evil people pumping out TV to mind control humanity or something like that. And they were doing it on behalf of a big blob on the ceiling called the Jagrafess. And the reason I'm putting this at the bottom is because it's just a blob on the ceiling, it does literally nothing in the episode, and it could have been just replaced by the actual evil person who was played by Simon Pegg. There is no reason for this to exist, so it seems like a good candidate to go on the bottom of this list. That's basically just wobbles around in really bad CGI. If anyone wants to look up the Jagrafess, I'm pretty sure I nailed it. Yeah, so Simon Pegg played, I believe, the editor was the name of his character, and also there was a whole thing about the Jagrafess that it has to be in like cold. So hang on, let's illustrate the cold, shall we? Oh, it's so chilly. It can't do with heat. So it exists on a really hot space station, just in a refrigerator, basically. And you'll never guess how it's defeated. Yeah, that's right. They pump all the heat into the room and it dies and explodes, I think. This thing enslaved all of humanity, by the way. Nailed it. Jagrafess, you're going onto the top of F tier. Okay, now I'm going to do what I think is at the top. We'll see whether or not I think this is the top of the top. It just unplugged the fridge. Like, they're in space. Space is cold, right? Surely it wouldn't be that difficult to keep something cold in space. I guess unless you're in direct, like, line of sight of the sun, which is probably most places in the solar system. Anyway, I actually have to draw a person now, so this is going to be tricky. Most of what I have on my list is not people, because most villains in Doctor Who are just people who are there because they're in charge of an army, or they're a soldier, or they're an evil corporation representative, or something like that. And I haven't included those on the list because they're boring. But there are some people who actually have like a personality and are worth keeping around. However, I do have to remember how to draw them, which is a bit of an issue. This is not going to be a very flattering picture, I'm afraid. So I'm like, oh, this is the best Doctor Who villain. Also, I can't draw them from memory. Anyway, I'm trying to draw Missy. Should have looked up a picture of Michelle Gomez before doing this. My apologies to the entire Gomez lineage. I'm separating out the various masters because they're all different. In the same way that if I was ranking Doctor Who heroes, I would separate out all the Doctors. The Master, for those of you who don't know, is like the equivalent of the Doctor. Alien has multiple lifespans. We won't get into it. So played by various actors with various ways of thinking about playing the actor. Playing the character, rather. So there's... Oh, you're cheating. I'm going to have to steal hairstyles now. Love the Master. The Master's good. Big fan of the Master. Most incarnations of the Master I like. Missy just happens to be my favourite. Roger Delgado's a close second. This is still not a very good Michelle Gomez, but we've got to get through a lot of things, so we're going to do this real quick. I like a brooch. But yeah, it invented essentially, this character was invented, or the Master in general, was invented to be a sort of Moriarty kind of figure, evil equivalent of the Sherlock Holmes that is the Doctor. I like it when she has her hair up in a spiky thing, so I'm going to draw that. Presumably you have ears, so let's stick some of those in. Sorry, what did you forget? I don't know what you forgot. Hey, Blamp! Welcome to Not Games. Welcome to Doctor Who, which died 2 weeks ago. I should probably explain that. So bad was the last era of Doctor Who that the BBC have cancelled the contract with the people who are doing it. And they're now looking for new people to run it, so they have to find a completely different production team. So as it currently stands, the show does not exist. That's fun. So we may have another Wilderness Years like we had in the 90s, but probably not. They'll probably find someone quite quickly. But it's fun to exaggerate. Rep Doctor Who, you would have loved the Super Who look. I did see a post on Tumblr which was like, you know, so who was the winner of Super Who lock? Nobody. Hope you all had fun. This is not a good Missy, but it doesn't matter. We got the idea. Extremely unflattering portrait gets to go up top. Doopy-doopy-doopy-doo. Right. Good enough. Whoop, up you go. S for Smaster. You lived through those days. How dare you bring them up? Testing out this linen shirt you got for LARP and Heatwave, and dang, this thing is better than a standard t-shirt. That's people wear linen in hot countries for a reason. Hi Bear, hi Oobs. Oh dear, Oobs is here, and I'm gonna have to mention Stephen Moffat at some point. How are we doing? We well? We are, so for people who came in late, whoops, I moved the Jaguar Fest, my apologies. For people who came in late, we are doing Doctor Who villains and monsters from memory, ranking them, and you're just in time for me to randomize the next one. There's a lot of them, I'm not picking them out myself, we're just gonna randomize. So, what have we got? The Ice Warriors, classic. We are hot, exactly. That's why we're doing this, is because it's too hot to be closing windows and doing voices. So, the Ice Warriors, they look sort of like a cone, right? And they got like, rare face. Rare. I've drawn Omega. Alright, you can admit you're doing this on purpose to rage me. I'm not. Look, I've just gotten back into watching Doctor Who. Just before the stream, in fact, I watched a new episode that I'd never seen before. I'm not drawing the villains of that because that episode was called Arachnids in the UK, which is a terrible title, but I kind of love it. They've got like sort of weird leathery helmets. You can sort of see a nose, and then they go like that, sharp teeth. Ice Warrior. Nah, today they're the Puddle Warrior. So I think the Ice Warriors are from Mars? I've seen them only in 2 episodes. They are an old villain. From the classic era, but I've only seen them in the modern episodes, The Empress of Mars and Cold War. Neither of which were particularly good. I'm gonna give them spiky chin, because why not? I can't really remember much about them, I'll be honest. They sort of hiss, they sort of go, hey, I'm an Ice Warrior, like that. It's not particularly intimidating. Maybe go out like that. Give them a long time. They're sort of lizardy, I think. That's the idea. They probably don't have noses. How about nostrils? Ah, now we're talking. Look at that. I don't know if it's accurate, but I like it. So how are we all doing in this horrible, horrible heat wave? Water. It's hot, but you made yourself an old-fashioned. Ooh. I'll blame you if you end up going on Doctor Who or Torchwood fanfic deep dive. Blame me all you like. Tumblr account's almost old enough to drink. Brilliant. Right. So let's just... I think actually they do have a little flare at the bottom, but... So yeah, these are just like, I think, Martians. They're the Ice Warriors. Warrior race, I guess. I think that in the Empress of Mars, they find like the Queen. It's not good. I think that was a Mark Gatiss one, so that explains why. Oh, shots fired! Whatever Oobs has against Stephen Moffat, I have against Mark Gatiss. I don't know why I'm trying to shade this. It's not going to get any better. Ice Warriors. I don't care about them at all, but they're not the worst, so E. Moving on. Having a team building on Friday and it's part of like an army training? Oh, not on Friday. No. That's when the hot is. You have to get on a train? Well, it depends on the train. A lot of trains now have air conditioning, so fingers crossed. Excuse for like team exercises and such, but they better cancel, yes. Who's next? Let's find out. Hopefully it's something I know anything about. Lady Cassandra O'Brien, Delta 17. I know, quote unquote, the bitchy trampoline. Let's draw the bitchy trampoline. We're going back to the first series again, same series as the Jagrafess. To the last human alive, quote unquote, who is not really human anymore, is just a piece of skin stretched out on a metal frame. With a face. As played by Zoe Wanamaker. Bitchy trampoline moisturizer. She's in the first series and the second series. I can't remember what her deal was in the first series. She was just evil. And then in the second series, she wanted to not be a trampoline anymore, which is honestly fair. But she was doing that by stealing bodies, so it doesn't... Slightly less fair. Gatiss and Moffat are one and the same to you. See, I get that. They do an awful lot of stuff together, but I feel like very much when they do stuff together, everyone goes, oh, that Moffat, and I'm like, Gatiss is right there. He's right there. You're probably right, but also... I mean, I think that's spot on. Don't know about you. That's way better than Missy, look at that. We need like... Yeah, sure. Beautifully done. This is the most accurate one I'm going to do today. Moffat speaks and draws attention to himself more. You've got a point. You do have a point. That's why you passed out once at work. It's just working, not doing any army stuff. I know. Bad. Right. I like Cassandra. Cassandra is a compelling character. She has personality. I don't remember what her deal was in the first episode, but she stole the other episode she was in. We got to see her when she was a human before all this happened. There's good development as a character in 2 episodes. That's more than some main characters get. So I'm gonna put her up. AS? No, it's not quite miss. I'm gonna put it there. Just gonna go there. So far, girl power versus blobs and ice. Moffat does more marketing things when going to cons and he gets more shots fired at him. Yeah, he's got a mouth. Mark Gatiss is too busy just making other mediocre things. We've immediately broken the lanes. I'm not here. I'm not one of these people who's like, you know, don't use decimal points in a rating system. Screw you, I'll do what I want. Wibbly wobbly, ratey weighty. Next. Randomizer. I haven't pulled this thing out for years. Sim Shah. Or Tim Shaw. How the hell do I draw him? So I recently... One of the reasons I'm doing this, apart from the fact I thought it would be a good idea to do more drawing on these streams instead of games, or alongside game, is I have instituted a rule for myself, which is no repeats. I am not allowed for the rest of the year to watch, play, read, do anything that I've done before. So no replaying games, no rewatching shows, so on and so forth. And in an effort to start that, I rewatched some episodes of Doctor Who. I wanted to start back at the series that I'd stopped on. I stopped 3 episodes in because the 3rd episode made me incredibly stressed. But I thought, well, let's start that back up again. But also for context, I will watch the first 3 episodes again. I need the context because there's a whole thing going on with the like character relations and like stuff. Does he have a nose? Probably. This is vaguely humanoid, weird teeth. Chris Chibnall's got a whole thing about weird teeth. Anyway, yeah, so I started watching Series 13 again. Series 11, sorry. 13th Doctor, Jodie Whittaker, who is a delight. And it's... I don't know, that era has a reputation, and so far it's not living up to that reputation. It's quite good. So Sim Shah is the villain of the first episode. He's one of the Stenzar. He has horrible teeth. And in order to make up for his horrible teeth, he kills things and sticks their teeth into his face. Spoilers. So it's just sort of covered in teeth. Which is a nasty design. But he's supposed to be a nasty character, so I think he comes back later in the series. I don't know, I haven't seen it. I've only seen him from The Woman Who Fell to Earth, which is, in my personal opinion, the best first story for any Doctors there have been. He's also blue. He too is cold. He comes from a cold planet. Kills people by freezing them with his hand. Oh, is he just Mr. Freeze? He might just be Mr. Freeze. This doesn't look like him at all, but it's funny. I'm gonna say he doesn't have ears, just for fun. What if more teeth? Just more teeth. He does have a helmet. I could have drawn him with a helmet. Then he wouldn't have had to draw on lots of teeth. He's blue! Da-ba-dee-da-ba-da. And no original characters. Let's pack up Let's pack up his Wimble and Mr. Freeze. No. I wouldn't compare Wimble to Sim Shah. I'd say it looks a bit should I go into plot in these things? Probably not. Spoilers, really. He's not a nice guy. I mean, I just said that he kills people and puts their teeth in his face, so that's probably quite obvious. There was a whole sequence in this episode of Sim Shah saying, "I am Sim Shah," and then Jodie Whittaker's Doctor going, "Tim Shaw? Sim Shah. Tim Shaw?" But because of the broadness of the accent, I didn't get the joke. I just thought she was repeating what he was saying. No, she was comparing Sim Shah with Tim Shaw as if it were a normal name. Because that's funny if you're Chris Chibnall. I misunderstood your name because I'm not from where you're from. Jokes. Probably a way easier way to have done this would have been to colour in the face and then just, like, erase where the teeth were. That's fine. We're not here for efficiency, we're here to do things quickly. What? Sim Shah. Oh, the Dung Eater. It's got that vibe, really, isn't it? Yeah. I think those are cut-off horns, but it's the vibe. And he's wearing like a black the plastic suit, as is Doctor Who tradition. Yeah, cracking episode this. Tim Shaw's not really all that interesting or important, but he's there. He's probably got like little lights on him. Oops. Tim Shaw. Whomst, where he's fine. C is fine. That's C for fine. Sure. Tim Shaw. Well, there we go. I could see him and the Dung Defender, the Dung Eater being friends, so. C for kite. Let's go fly a kite. Right. That's Sim Shah. Moving on, we have the Cantrafari. The hell are they? Oh, right. People aren't going to like these. I did put the episode in some of them to remind myself who's who. City of Tears song reminds you that you have to finish Hollow Knight one of these days. It's a good game, do recommend. Right. I'm not good at drawing hands. But I am just going to draw a hand. So, what are they called? Cantrafari. Cantrofari? I don't know how to pronounce it. You? It's Doctor Who. These are... They probably don't look like this, but in my head they look like this, so that's what counts. Too big as well. These are directly referenced in the episode as looking quite a bit like face huggers, because they hug the face. And what they do is they cling onto your face and put you in like a dream state. Psychically linked to anybody else who is currently also in that dream state. And they just sort of cut a hole in your head and eat your brain. Standard stuff, really. And this is what happens when you give Stephen Moffat a Christmas special to write. I can imagine it's got big teethies. Arr, I'm gonna eat your brains. This episode also contains Santa Claus. We've already mentioned Simon Pegg. Guess who plays Santa Claus? That's right, Nick Frost. It's the duo, everyone. So is the esophagus in the arm? I should point out it's not really an arm. That's it. What I've drawn here is it. This is it. This does not continue. Contains who and the what? Now, why is Santa here? It's Last Christmas. That's the name of the episode. There's a whole bait and switch about how, oh no, we've just got out the dream state and it turns out you're really old and dying. Oh no, what a shame. Wait, no, that was a dream too. Oh, Moffat, you're so clever. It's not a great episode. Although when referencing this, there is one of my favourite lines from the 12th Doctor. This is a Peter Capaldi episode. And somebody points out, oh, they're like facehuggers from Alien. And the Doctor goes, what, Alien? I go, yeah, Alien, the horror movie. Doctor goes, there's a horror movie called Alien. That's very insensitive. No wonder everyone keeps invading you. Yeah, because he's an alien. Oh, dream stuff can be done well. It absolutely can. This was not really it. Again, Christmas special. Then again, in the last Christmas special, he did also explode a woman and turn her into the North Star. I don't know. Doctor Who's weird. Anyone ever mentioned that? I'm going to give this a long tongue as well. It's got to get into the brain and have a little taste. Merry Christmas. So if you haven't worked it out already, I like Doctor Who, but Doctor Who's real weird. It's very hit and miss. Very swings for the fences when it wants to. And has a reputation for being a family show, but really isn't. Well, it is, but it's the kind of family show that you remember and from your childhood and go, oh my god, how did they show us? How did they say that that was fine for kids? Oh, you tend to not like it when shows reference pop culture stuff, and by name you mean. I mean, to be fair, like, this is meant to be in universe in our world, so the existence of the film Alien makes sense. It feels perfectly reasonable if it's supposed to be like like if it's like another fictional universe mentioning another fictional universe, that's weird, but I'm fine if it's like this should exist because it's our world. It just so happens to also be Doctor Who's world. I'm gonna eat your brains. These are quite dull and they're not in a very good episode, so they're more interesting than the Ice Warriors, I think. Because psychic dream things, that's always fun. You're gonna straddle the line between D and E, I think. We're slowly making our way connecting up, but let's see if we can get something between those. The Mouth Hand is weirdly convincing you to watch Doctor Who. Well, let's see if we can't convince you to watch Doctor Who with... We've already had you, go away. The Veil. Okay, this is gonna be a bit of a weird one. Because it's from my favourite episode of Doctor Who ever. It's also not, like, the bit that's the least interesting. So... But it's kind of cool. So the Veil is... Cassandra, more attention she deserves. This is only new series monsters. There are classic ones in there as well. It's every episode I've seen. Which is mostly new, but there is a bunch of classic in there too, so we just happen to have a lot of modern ones so far. So I endeavour to watch more Doctor Who, and then we can expand this list a little bit. Add some more classic beasties. I had to take it. I took out some. I wanted to include some I haven't actually seen the episode of, but I have seen in clips and kind of love, but I thought that's against the spirit of things. I have not, for example, seen the Gods of Ragnarok. I've not seen, you know, the circus at the end of the universe or whatever that episode's called. But they're silly. I wanted to include them. But I shall retain my judgment until 'tis necessary. So the Veil. The Veil is from one of the best things I've ever seen on TV, Heaven Sent. And as I say, it's probably the least interesting part of the episode, but it's basically a representation of death. It's a thing that is walking around very slowly and won't stop and is going after you. Classic death metaphor. It will catch you eventually, but you have to stop in order for that to happen. You like that one? I loved it. It's my favourite. You don't like that? That's the idea. But here's the great thing about Heaven Sent, right? The episode is the Doctor and this. And that's it. It's the entire episode. It's so good. Do you like episodes of TV that are all about grief? Well, boy howdy. Have I got a show for you. So the in-universe description of this thing is essentially it's built on one of the Doctor's childhood nightmares. He went to a funeral when he was young, and they covered the body with a veil, but it was, as it is today, a hot day. And so the flies were all around it. And he had nightmares about that for quite a while, and so somebody stole that nightmare and turned it into a monster to torture him. 'Cause fun. Doctor Who, everyone. So that's kind of also one of the fun things about this monster is you can tell it's coming because the flies arrive. Death metaphor. The Veil. Give me the angst and grief, hell yeah! That's gonna destroy you, it probably will. The best thing about that episode is all you need to know is someone very close to the Doctor just died, and he's angry about that because he doesn't know who did it. That's all the setup you need to know for that episode. Go watch it now. I am biased. I'm biased towards this one. It's not a great villain. It's not a great monster. It's everything around it that's good. But also, the episode doesn't work without it. You went in with no setup and it was awesome. It was so good! I'm gonna put it... It's better than Tim Shaw, surely. Yeah, it's not compelling enough to go in A, I think, as a character. But B's good. B for Bevan Bent. Cool. We're filling in that first column. Because there are columns in this, definitely. So yes, everyone watch Heaven Sent, series 9 episode, the end -1. It's the penultimate episode, basically. I would just watch the whole of series 9 and 10. They're the best that Doctor Who has had, in my opinion. So, unfortunately, series 9 has Clara, but you know you can live with that. Next, The Mind of Evil. We've got a classic one, everybody. The Mind of Evil. The Mind of Evil is like a jar? Something like that. It's like a jar on a machine. Drag her. I will drag her as I would attempting to carry any dead weight. I'm gonna make just like a proper bell jar. The Mind of Evil is from a classic episode. This is from John Pertwee's second series. Might be the second story actually from that one. So we're talking 1971, 1972, maybe. Look it up during spooky season. Have too many close relatives pass away in June, July, and August, and you're already struggling with much grief. That's fair. That's fair. Sorry for your loss. But it's good. It's empowering. That's all I'd say. Hopefully it can help you in a way. If and when you're comfortable to watch it. You don't have to, but it just happens to be one of my favourite things I've ever seen. Alongside an episode of Inside Number 9. Maybe we should do that ranked. Anyway, Mind of Evil. Mind of Evil is not one of my favourite episodes, but it's also kind of fun. This is a Master episode, Roger Delgado Master. He brings a brain in a jar into a prison and says, oh yeah, I can cure all of you of your psychotic tendencies. I will just focus the evil into this jar. What could go wrong? I never really understand the Master's plans. It eventually involves an intercontinental ballistic missile. I can't remember how it gets there. It's... but eventually the mind rebels and starts turning everybody angry and mad. Who'd have thunk that might happen? There isn't... I don't think we see a brain in it. But I'm going to imagine there's a brain in there. It's The Mind of Evil. Not to be confused with The Brain of Morbius, which is an episode I have not seen, so will not be appearing on this list yet. I love how they used to do like technological panels on old sci-fi things. They just put like coloured bits of acetate and shine a light through and be like, that's technology right there. It's a good time. Also, I think I hear a pickle at the door, so let me just quickly go sort that out. Everybody look at The Mind of Evil and don't turn psychotic. Don't eat the mold.
So, we're eating the mind of evil, right?
Don't eat the mind of evil. Hang on, let me get a picture of John Pertwee.
Munch Kronk, bitch.
Do you want this to happen to you? Do you want this to happen to you? This is your face on the mind of evil. Anyway. You'd win. The master thought that. Look where that got him. Hallucinating about a giant doctor. Anyway, it's weird. This fun episode. 70s Doctor Who is a good time. Anyway, Mind of Evil. A funny episode. Honestly, this is a prop. This is not a character. It's not a villain. It's a prop. So I'm gonna put it quite far down. It's not. Is it worse than the Jagrafest? No, it's at least a catalyst for something. Also, did Miss just get here, or do I not have a brain? If Miss just got here, hi Miss, how do? Hope have nice. We'll be eating the prop. Don't eat the prop. No munch crunch. You just got here. Hi, welcome to It's Too Hot, so I'm drawing Doctor Who. Doctor Who villains and monsters that I have seen, including doobity-doobity-doo, Prisoner Zero from the 11th Hour. The hell does that look like? Oh, it's a bit like the Jagrafest, but a snake. Got it. Cool. Speaking of Stephen Moffat, his first episode as showrunner. It's not great. I could cheat on this one because it can disguise itself as a person. So I could just draw a person. No eat asbestos or mold or the mind of evil. Goes with teeths. Does it have like a face? I don't remember. I don't care. Does he get the hands right? The knot things are on the list. They're in there. I have seen that episode. I do like the knot thing. I think this one, I want to say this has like frills or something. Like it's got a bit more going on than just a snake hanging from the ceiling, but I can't remember what. So do you remember me saying that I think The Woman Who Fell to Earth is the best episode for the best first episode a Doctor's had? Well, this was Matt Smith's first episode, and that's not a contender. The way the 11th Doctor immediately annoyed me. Yeah, that's fair. Honestly, looking back, he's not my favourite. But also he sort of mellows a lot as the series goes on. He's got the sort of spunky youth thing going on to start with, and Stephen Moffat's trying to work out how to write something other than a sitcom. You know, it's a rough start. But it gets better. Hashtag it gets better. It takes 4 series to get better, but it gets better. And I'm not going to be one of those people who's going to say, like, you know, you really should stick it out. No, just skip the stuff you didn't like. Doctor Who is a series of TV shows. It's not a TV show. Just skip the bits you don't like. It's fine. 11's Matt Smith. But then again, we won't get into that. Because that's a whole can of worms. Did you know there are 3 First Doctors and none of them are the First Doctor? Anyway. Writing something other than man yelling British. Britishly yelling. Yelling in British. He yelled Britishly down the stairs. I think it's like slightly organic and unpleasant. Dripping? It might be dripping. It might have a face. I honestly can't remember. It's not that interesting. The idea is kind of interesting, which is it sort of killed people and then made people forget they existed. Well, it didn't do that. The hole in the wall did that. We won't get into it. It's fine. But the whole setup is basically so that the 11th Doctor can have a cool thing where it's like, hey, I'm protecting this planet. How dare you? That's basically all you need to know. I'm going to say it's drippy. I immediately regret this. You know what? Because I've done that, that's going in F tier. go, ceiling clingers all go in F tier. The Jagrafess and Prisoner Zero, you're staying in there now. Go away.
It's Cungulus.
It's not Cungulus. Thank you, Hazel. Did we get a conclusion for the hole in the wall? Oh, kind of, sort of. Like the Christmas one, the Matt Smith last episode kind of addressed it as being like a fracture from the Time War. The Time Lords are on the other side of it. Why they did that, I don't know. Why they disappeared, I don't know. Never trust anything Stephen Moffat writes that lasts more than a series. No conclusion without a million more questions. Ba-da-da. Insert picture of Stephen Moffat. Next one. Let's do something other than Stephen Moffat. We're not doing something other than Stephen Moffat.
Does the dragon egg count as a villain?
I knew someone would bring that up. It does not. The real villain of that episode was man. That's actually not quite true. The real villain of that episode were bacteria the size and shape of spiders. Didn't include them on the list. Fun fact, this episode, Robot of Sherwood, was written by Mark Gatiss. Everybody's favourite. I had to look up who these were when I put them on my list. So they're not going high. Robot Sherwood Forest? The Robot of Sherwood, yes. This is an episode with Robin Hood. Which is kind of an interesting concept because the Doctor starts the episode out by going, hey, Robin Hood doesn't exist. And then they draw a bunch of parallels with like, you know, it's like a mythical hero that people look up to for positive reasons. It's a bit like the Doctor. Yeah. It's not a good episode. It's not a bad episode. It's a Mark Gatiss episode, which means it's utterly forgettable. But anyway, they've got these sort of like night helmet sort of things going on, but underneath the night helmet is an robot. And I don't know what that robot looks like, so I'm just gonna give it like beep boop eyes. Hello. I think the plot of this story was that they needed gold to rebuild their spaceship, but also they were going to blow up the Earth for reasons undisclosed, so they had to be given enough gold to fly away so that they could explode far enough away from the planet to not blow us up. Also, Robin Hood's there. Does the Doctor end up being Robin Hood? No. I think that's kind of alluded to a little bit of like, no, it's a whole thing. It's Mark Gatiss. I don't hate Mark Gatiss, I want to specify. I just don't get why he keeps doing things. I don't get why he keeps doing things. He can. He's enjoying it. Good for him. I wouldn't commission any of those things. He's written so many episodes of Doctor Who and he's never written a good one. How is that possible? Even Chris Chibnall wrote a good one. Oh my god, I've just thought of an alternate universe where Mark Gatiss became the showrunner after Stephen Moffat. Ugh. This is getting way more rendering than it deserves. It's not going above E. Beep boop. Dragus. Again, I don't have anything against him, but it's just like, oh, the suffocating mediocrity. But are the Angels making an appearance? They're on the list. They may do. Right, Robots of Sherwood, where do you go? The episode's about Robin Hood, so these guys just aren't really a factor. There. Straddling the line, I think, probably. Shake that randomizer till they fall out. But we've got Cassandra twice, so it might. But yeah, they could come along right now. Who knows? I don't. Richard, friggin' screw you, randomizer. Right. I'm gonna draw the monster version of Richard Lazarus, so I don't actually have to draw Mark Gatiss. Friggin'. It was listening. It was listening to us.
Coward.
Yeah, I'm a coward. Not drawing Mark Gatiss. He played Richard Lazarus in the Lazarus Experiment. I think he also wrote that episode. Guess what I think of it. Generator has a sense of humor. Unlike Mark Gatiss. No. He does have a sense of humor as a comedy writer. I won't draw the rest of the body because it's quite spidery. So the conceit of this episode is what in the Predator? The conceit of this episode is a guy called Lazarus, who's an old man, played by Mark Gatiss in very bad old man makeup. Invents a machine that takes the DNA of the person who goes in it and brings it back in time, thus rejuvenating them. This goes awry when it transpires that it can't stop doing that, and it rejuvenates their DNA back further in time to when humans were monsters. I don't really understand the pseudoscience going on behind it. I've done a lot of mouths like this so far. Doctor Who likes mouths like this. See? Moffat gets all the blame, you know? He had nothing to do with this. This was a Russell T Davies, Mark Gatiss combo. 1-2. He's also very slippery and like shiny for some reason. Yes, it's Mycroft from Sherlock. He's co-writer of Sherlock with Stephen Moffat. He's also one of the 4 League of Gentlemen, if you're familiar with that. He's done loads of stuff. He is a successful writer in terms of continuing to get work. So good for him. And the shading really brings it together. I don't know why I stopped drawing that. I don't know why your head looks like a traffic cone. Don't worry about it. You don't really deserve much more. Oh no, hang on, you are slippery, aren't you? I do have to... Right. Cool. Down you go. Well, I do remember you, so you're like, I guess E. If I remember you, you've got to go higher than the bloody Jagrafess, right? Oh, you're not as good as the Ice Warriors. So, okay, like low E minus, with like E minus, not F plus. Moist gases. No. Yeah, if he would have just sat there and ate his bread, you wouldn't dislike Moffat this much. But he speaks, capital S. Your detestation of Moffat will forever bring us, all of us, joy. Lube up that alien. It's a human, just past human. Monster, past monster human. DNA. Mark Gatiss. Something that isn't Mark Gatiss, please. I only think he's in here once. Okay, how do I draw this? I thought I'd include this because it's kind of interesting. I do like this episode. It's not my favorite episode by this writer. That would be The Mummy on the Orient Express. Draw Oxygen. So this is Ganymede Systems, which is a company. And I thought it'd be interesting to include it because this is, as far as I can tell, despite the kind of backdrop of the sort of people that write Doctor Who and how long this has been going on, this is the first time just a straight up company is the villain. I think it's got like a logo that's like a circle. Yeah, a lot of Doctor Who is quite like anti-authoritarian and anti-capitalist and all that sort of stuff. This is very much, it's written by Jamie Matheson. I'm gonna make it like a G because it's Ganymede Systems. Do that and then have like a circle in the middle for like planets, because Ganymede is one of Jupiter's moons, I want to say. And then maybe like a little whoosh, like that. But yeah, the episode is basically the Doctor and a bunch of people are stuck on a spaceship, and that spaceship is owned by Ganymede Systems, and as a consequence, they own the oxygen. And you're not really entitled to that oxygen, the thing. You're not an employee, and, you know, they don't take free handouts, so... Also, you're wearing suits that they made, and you haven't paid for those, so, you know, if you die in those suits, we will just sort of move your body around. Just inside them. And try and use that to get other people out of their suits. Because, you know, they're expensive. It's a real interesting idea for an episode that wasn't great by itself, but I admire it. I admire the episode. Thank you, Jamie Matheson. You try. Beep, boop, boop, boop. Some lights. It was also meant to tie in to The Mummy on the Orient Express, in that there's a villain who's an AI called Gus. And it was going to tie into the villain of this being Gus being the computer of Ganymede Systems, but it never really panned out, so... Who turned out the lights? Yeah, the Vashta Narada. It's a similar thing like the piloting of a spacesuit being creepy. I do kind of get the impression that maybe that wasn't in the original script. And it was added as like, well, we need something to be an actual, like, threat. Let's get spooky space clothes. Suits, that's the word I'm looking for. Space clothes. Sad bat. Don't know why I'm trying to render that more as a screen with a logo image made up. Conceptually, I really like it. It has spooky space clothes. It's stuck in my mind. It gave us a gif of Peter Capaldi saying, "This is it, the end point of capitalism," which I've never found a use to use in Discord, but I'm going to use it now. Do I still have it saved? Probably not. I probably deleted it when I was like, that's depressing. No, I deleted it. Oh, it doesn't have the actual line. It's got the bit where he says the bottom line where human life has no value at all. The end point of capitalism. It cuts out the bit that's good. Yeah, Ragdoll found the first half anyway. Also, by this point, the Doctor has been exposed to the vacuum of space because there was no oxygen and he's now blind. That's incidental. It's not incidental, actually. It's really important for the next 3 episodes. But we won't go into that. How big is Capaldi's hair? This is series 12, so... Sorry, series 10, which means almost the biggest. You have to go to Twice Upon a Time to see the big floof. You interpreted this to mean the end of capitalism. No, it's the end point of capitalism. It's like, this is where capitalism is headed. Yeah, I like the idea. The execution's not great. If you asked me what's the name of the system that is in oxygen, I wouldn't be able to tell you the name, so I can't really go that high. But conceptually, I'm on board. I'm not on board, actually, because that would mean I'd have to pay for my oxygen. So instead, let's go somewhere else. Ah, Kira found it. Oh, the macro! Brilliant. It's a good time. Again, thank you, Jamie Matheson. And then the very next series, we've got an episode called Kablam, which I haven't watched yet, but apparently it's quite multinational organisation apologist. Right, I'm going to draw a crab. Who wants to draw a crab? I'm going to draw a crab. Big crab. Crab. Definitely, probably fine. I mean, he spends 2 episodes pretending he's not blind. He's fine. He's fine. Crab. So, the Macra. The Macra are interesting. They were in an episode from the classic series in which they were psychic crabs who could covertly manipulate the thoughts of humans into doing things they wanted, like mine for minerals. When they came back in the modern series, in an episode called Gridlock, they are what I can only describe as the floor is lava, i.e., they're just a dangerous thing to be on the floor. They brought the macro back so there could be dangerous things going snip snip. Which I think is kind of funny. Psychic conspiracy, brain control, mind control crabs to snip snip. Gonna give him little teeths. Like that. That's literally all I have to say about the macro. So, talk amongst yourselves. Give him Missy, she'll make it fine. Missy is very significant to at least one of the following episodes in which he is blind. Is she an extremis? I don't know if she's an extremis. Maybe we'll get to the not the foretold, what the mummy's called, the monks. Maybe we'll get to them, and I can talk more about it. Because otherwise I have no excuse to, and you will all disown me for talking about an episode of Doctor Who unprompted. Oh, depth. Right. But yeah, I've watched my first new episode of Doctor Who in bloody ages, just before the stream started, working my way through series 11. And unfortunately, the episode I just watched was called Arachnids in the UK, so we will not be drawing the villain of that one, even though the villain of that one was Man. Or more accurately, Donald Trump, kind of. It's against the law, you read it somewhere, exactly. Crab. So yeah, the macro. They are the floor is lava. To me, I've not seen the Macroterra, so they can go down with head crabs. I think head crabs and actual crabs. Talk about it whatever you want to, especially if it has crabs. Found a good crab gif. Oh wow, look at that! Oh, whoever made that must be real cool and smart and handsome. And it clearly must have been made for a project that was universally loved. Do they have mad skills? Oh, that must be the mind of evil then. Oh, they made a better Twitch TV emote out of it. Beautiful crab. I will make macro dance, which is that picture I've just drawn, but dancing. Right, macro down. Everyone eat some mind of evil. You can't have your mind of evil until you've eaten your mold. Speaking of which, okay. Ask and ye shall receive. The monks I was just talking about, right? So, Missy, I've already drawn Missy very badly up here, so I'm not going to look at that anymore because it's bad. So the monks are like, this was a very high concept trilogy of episodes that I didn't understand.
I think your randomizer is listening to you.
Oh, I think it is. There's like 100 things in here and it keeps getting something relevant. You sure it's random? Should be. Well, the macro and the monks have absolutely nothing to do with each other. They're not even alphabetical because this is the monks. I don't know. So the monks are kind of like mummified things with horrible teeth. If you want to make something look kind of human but not, give it horrible teeth. They got sort of, I think they've just got eye sockets rather than eyes. So their whole thing is weird. They use virtual reality to profile attempts to invade worlds. But rather than invading by force, they set up a situation where a representative of the Earth has to come to them to ask for help. And so when they do come to ask for help, they go, we'll help on the condition that we can rule your planet. So there's the episode Extremis, which is set inside the virtual reality. And then there's the episode The Pyramid at the End of the World, where these guys arrive on Earth and do their plan, which I honestly can't remember what it was. And then you have The Lie of the Land, which is post-invasion and taking over the world. They've changed reality so that they were always here, and universally loved, and it's like a 1984 kind of police state. And they are defeated with the power of love. Doctor Who, everyone. This feels like something Rory should deal with. Rory has existed and not existed so many times, he might as well. Hella gay. The gay fine, hella gay fine. Just gay on its own again, not fine. Thank you, Automod. Apparently Sawyer specifically saying gay is not allowed. Rory's been through so. Rory deserves way better than everything. It's kind of interesting because of all the stuff I've just described, the monks themselves really don't do anything. That's kind of their deal. They want to try and take over as much as possible without really doing anything. And that makes them very odd villains. Very nice decorative robes there. Arrested Development Sandwell. Oh. Gotta up your mold gains. No, stop eating mold. Everyone eat your mold and minds of madness, or you're not allowed to be gay. This is why I do these streams. For sentences like that to be conjured into the world. I'll give you shiny teeth. I don't think you have shiny teeth. I'm gonna give you shiny teeth. There's also a large quantity of... Is it Extremis? It's either Extremis or the Pyramid of the End of the World, where just the Pope's there. The Pope's in these episodes. Don't know why. They have to go to the library at the Vatican for some reason. I do like Extremis, because it's basically a bunch of people working out their inner simulation. That's kind of fun. Anyway, the monks. What an inventive name. I love the... almost dropped my pen. Love the concept. Execution's really quite boring. And confusing. And not really about them. But I do love the concept. Because it's just bonkers. So... I'm gonna go above C because there is actually something I like about them. I guess they're going with the veil, which feels so weird given the given how different these episodes feel to me, of Heaven Sent being my favorite thing in the world, and this trilogy of episodes being, yeah, alright. But whatever. We're judging the villains here. Thank you for being on Sawyer chat babysitting duty, ensuring you are only kind and good. Only kind and good people do not mention gay. If anyone quotes that, I'm banning you. Spelk. Spelk's fine. Spelk's allowed. No. I'm watching you. I will take your sword away. Right. Speaking of taking a sword away, is there a Doctor Who monster that has a sword? Can't think of one. Let's see if the randomizer can think of one. We've had the macro. We're not doing them again. We've had the veil. We're not doing them again. Sontarans, potatoes. We can do potatoes. Rory's not a villain. Rory's the bestest lad. Sontaran. Prove me wrong. Yeah, let's give him a little bit more going on. Not much, though. Rory's the best. More like that sort of shit. Yeah, I'm done. Sontarans, everybody. They're a warrior race from the stars, and by warrior race I mean a race that has been at war for so long they literally can't remember why it started. They've genetically modified themselves to just get better and better at combat, and that's basically all they think about now. It is, I think in their culture, it's like helping people is a crime and a sin. You face your enemy, you charge, and you die. That's the Sontaran way. You don't help anyone. It's very much an exaggeration of militaristic overreach and all that sort of stuff. A lot of anti-war stuff in Doctor Who. Who'd have thought? Only a member of Rory is him being treated like crap because it's funny. Yeah. That's Rory. Right, the Sontarans. They've appeared. They were in the classic series. They first appeared, I believe, with the Third Doctor, the Sontaran something or other. Experiment? Sontaran Experiment. I think they only appeared in like 2 episodes of the classic era. But they had such an iconic design, i.e. Potato, that they came back and appeared in a bunch. And then we got Strax, I believe his name was, who's a character, one of the Paternoster gang, who was some good comic relief. What if a Sontaran was forced to be a helper and, I believe, a nurse? He's trying his best to fit in. His old Sontaran ways. Right, Sontarans. They're alright. As classic villains go, don't hate them. They tend to have an anti-war message, that's always nice. Never really been in a particularly good episode, but they've never been in a bad one. Middle? They're better than the monks, right? They're at least iconic, right? They've got that going for them. They're iconic. They're Potato. Something's got to go in A, right? I'm gonna put them in a low A. A minus. A minus, Potato. Purely for Potato. Feel sort of Krogan? What's the Krogan? Krogan. Krogan. The little old Krogan. Oh, they're nice. I like them. No. There's probably something in Doctor Who that's closer to that. In terms of silhouette, there's the Jadoon, who may arrive. But they're more rhinos than lizards. Anyway. Sontaran's done. Sontar. Who's next? We have the Carrionites from Shakespeare Code. An unfortunate episode for reasons I will not get into here. Hey, Strax, how you doing? Oh, they're warriors who were also kind of too good at war. Ah, I see. It reminds you thematically, not just visually. God. I think you saw that one. Is that also an 11? That is a 10. That is a David Tennant. They are... who knows Macbeth? Is it Macbeth? It might be Hamlet. I don't know. Who knows Shakespeare? Hey, miss. Which one's got the witches? Macbeth. It is Macbeth. Good, I got it first try. It's kind of them, basically. This is from the Shakespeare Code, which has Shakespeare and also witches. Twitch chat is disconnecting me because it's rude. There's a kind of interesting concept with them, which is that their magic exists via language. Like, it uses the power of language itself to power magic, which is really kind of cool. I like that idea. Very metaphysical. This has an unfortunate conclusion, which we, again, won't touch on. But if you want to watch that episode, beware. And one of them sucks life force out of somebody and becomes youthful, I believe. So I might as well draw one who just looks like a normal person. Who's Martha? Who are you, the doctor? Poor Martha. Martha was Rory before Rory. Deserves way better. But also, to be fair, that was kind of deliberate. Martha did deserve better. The writing says as much. Whoops. Still wearing rags, I presume. I'm fairly certain they had like long prosthetic noses, which is again doubly unfortunate given the thing I'm not going to talk about. But double toil and troubling things. Yes, they're trying to use. I think they possess Shakespeare in his sleep and make him write stuff into his plays which will act as a spell. I think that's the idea. I don't think they had a cauldron, but you've got to add one, haven't you? Otherwise, how will I not know that these people aren't just, you know, out on a hen night or something? Just having a good time. And they got to boil and trouble and all that. This one's just smiling for the camera. Oh, hey, you're taking the picture? Hi. I don't really have anything to say about this episode. I've kind of forgotten about it. Again, there's some issues. They're not the worst issues in the world, but boy howdy, it's 2026. Oh, partnering her with Mickey was very weird. It very much felt like, oh yeah, I have two black companions that I sidelined. Why don't we put them together? Russell T Davies not shrugging off any of the accusations that came back to bite him in the modern series. Didn't like that. Anyway, carry nights. Pair the spares, but also racist. I'm not going to shade this, not worth it. Again, I like the idea. Bad execution, so you're going to go with the enemy systems. Simple enough. Also, double the because Rose is X. People are allowed to be people's exes. Oh, but then again, Martha's entire interaction with the Doctor was the Doctor saying, "Oh, Rose." So yeah, that is weird. Just thought about that. Also, it's kind of Mickey and kind of not, because he was taking on the role of Ricky. Which is, honestly, it feels like the actor said, I don't want to be this character anymore, can we be something else? And also that actor, turns out not great. Yeah, someone wrote this. Russell T Davies. I'm going to turn some lights on because I forgot. 1 second. Sorry, there was also a picket in the way and she demanded strokes. Hey, who turned out the lights? Well, let's see if we get... the Vashtana... Oh, we get the Ogrons, okay. Right. Oh, my bot died, sorry, hang on. Twitch... Something up with Twitch API. It's been playing up recently. The heat killed out. No! She's back on. Hazel's returned. I will draw an Ogron. Ogron is from the classic era. Third Doctor again. We get a lot of Third Doctor stuff.
Boy, that number was something else.
You mean it was good?
No, it was something else.
Hey, who turned on all the lights?
Who turned on all the lights? That's not the quote, but it's more accurate to the thing that happened, so I applaud it. Clap, clap. I meant to make that sound like I was having difficulty understanding it, but it sounded like I was just being sarcastic. Right, who's ever seen a bad gorilla mask? Who's ever seen Bill Bailey? Who hasn't seen one? So this is these are from a few episodes, but in particular the very first episode of Doctor Who I ever watched, The Day of the Daleks. These are your stereotypical big, lumbering, stupid brute who can get a lot of physical work done. They're like big old monkey peoples, which is, you know, not problematic if you don't think about it. Wasn't clear not that Martha wasn't allowed to get with Rose's ex, but her arc kind of being in competition with the memory of Rose. Yeah, exactly. It's like always being in the shadow of Rose, always in the shadow of Rose. How about she gets with Rose's ex? How about that? How about not? But don't worry, I'm sure Russell T Davies learned his lesson and treats all characters of colour much better in the last couple of series. Oh no. Not thinking solves 99% of your problems. Causes them too, but that's not important. So yeah, the Ogrons, they kind of look like crap, but I like them because they're from my childhood. So I've tried to make them look as crummy as they do. I'm gonna give them... They wear leather. Give them a big old leather collar. The actor's nose does have to fit under the mask. Should probably push that forward a little bit. After all, I am currently designing the costume for the reboot of the Ogrons. There's a variety of villains they're never going to bring back, and the Ogrons is one of them. The Doctor Who and Torchwood archive you'd read daily for a long time. Don't know if the fix were ever ported over to AO3. May need to do some research. Ooh. Again, let's not get into why they made their skin dark. Inspired by monkeys, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Just looking at gorillas and went, They're also quite shiny, because the makeup wasn't very good, and they're wearing plastic masks. I made a lot of things shiny today. It's because Doctor Who's prosthetic budget is usually like a packet of crisps and a roll of duct tape. You don't know if that makes it better. Ogrons. It's about as much effort as they deserve. I have a soft spot for them, but they're just hired muscle. They're goons, that's all they are. So, D. A lot of things going in D. We've at least got one in every category at this point, so that's nice. While I'm doing this, how many of you have watched Doctor Who? And if so, what's your favourite villain? I should have asked that way earlier, but I've just realised that's probably the sort of question I should ask as a host. Come on, the weird quiet Greylians. That's Stargate. Axons and the Axos. More Third Doctor stuff. More really bad costumes. These ones are gold, though. They're all sparkly. Well, how should I draw them? Should I draw them in their human form or in their alien form? I'll give you the choice. Human form or alien form? Also, I have a good fact about the weird quiet Greylians, which I discovered while looking this up. Unfortunately, you have no memory. That's good. It means you get to rewatch things. Never really watched it, but you like the Daleks on Tumblr. That's fair. The Daleks are in here. Several Daleks are in here, actually. Ablium. We have one vote for Ablium, and that's all we've got, so I think I'm going to draw Ablium. Let's draw the Ablium form of the Axons, which is a sleeping bag covered in poppy paper. What's that stuff called? Their human form looks like humans, but with like plastic eyes on top of the eyes. It's slightly strange. Also painted gold. Speaking of Axons, they're also in Expedition 33. Do they also give a fuel source to the Earth, which is in fact not a fuel source, it's a massive explosive and will drain the life of everything on the planet? But it ties into the greed of humanity that they take it without asking questions. Is that a thing that happens in Expedition 33? I am just here to spoil episodes of Doctor Who, that's what this stream is. The actors had to bring their own props. I will show you an Axon. Behold the Axons. What a costume. They don't actually look like that. They look like sleeping bags with poppy paper on it. I keep falling for it every time. It's like, where's the message? I appear to have drawn something unpleasant. But we continue. Yeah, when one of them transformed in the episode, I actually burst out laughing. Because there's just a guy in a sleeping bag trying to crawl across the floor. And it's not going well. And people are standing around going, "Oh my god, it's attacking us! It's destroying the nuclear research facility!" Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Oh, I love classic Doctor Who, so stupid. Axons. Bubble wrap, that's the one, thank you. I couldn't remember what it was called. I call it poppy paper. But yes, bubble wrap. Looks like a sweet potato, you're very generous. I'm not going to remember what this is if we come back to this. Poppy paper's cute. It's a good name. It pops. Poppy paper. Axons. Again, the episode. So many episodes of Doctor Who boil down to the real villain is man, because the episode is essentially just about a bunch of different people from different positions of power fighting amongst themselves, and as a consequence, falling for the trap. The Axons don't do much, but they do look like this. Is the thing, they do look like this. And I kind of love them for that. So oh, it's weird. When I watched the episode, I didn't really have a high opinion of it, but now I'm thinking back on it, I did quite like it. I'll put you in C. You don't deserve lower than C. No moons, no egg, no hatch. It's not going to appear. If you want me to put the monsters in that episode, which may I remind you are bacteria the size and shape of spiders, then I will. But I don't think you want me to do that. Doesn't deserve higher than a C, but it doesn't deserve lower.
Furious Smiley.
Furious Smiley. Forgot she could interpret those. Well, there's Axons and Axos. They're the same thing, by the way. Axos is the sort of central organic intelligence. It's the ship, it's the people, it's all of it. It's just one big thing. But they call themselves Axons to try and convince humanity that they're similar. Never really talked about that. That's another cool feature. It makes him feel alien, because it's just a thing. How does Hazel know how to interpret emoticons? Hazel works in mysterious ways, as we know. Oh, hello. So they're just in the Axons from Expedition 33. They look cool. Much more convincing. Cool.
SMRT.
Did you stop there? Okay, fine.
3.
3. Doesn't work that one out. This is one of them. That's cool, though. What? What's when? Speaking of... Boom! The family of blood! Let's draw the family of blood. I remember what 2 of them look like. There's 4 of them. Didn't think about this when I put them on the list. I do have to draw 4 of them, but they come together, so... They are a package. Package deal. 4 Axons? The 4 Axons? 4 family of blood? No fish people, unfortunately. There are plenty of fish people in there. There's the Sea Devils. About it. No, there's also the ones from the Doctor's Daughter stuff. Yoga's done! Hated it too hard. Bins are done, now laying on bed. Yeah! So, let's do Family of Blood. But it was, oh, the fish vampire people from Venice, that one as well. Yes, I forgot about them. They were also in there. As I was putting them on there, actually, I thought, why did the human version of those have the big sharp teeth? Because the human versions of those are like a projection. So why did they give their projections big sharp teeth? I don't understand. They wanted to look like humans. Why did they do that? But maybe we'll get to that if I roll them. If people are enjoying this stream, I will happily do more in the future. I just thought I'd do it today because it was an idea I came up with at the weekend, and it's too hot to do Phoenix Wright. So it was either cancel or do this. Yeah, I think he just has a tie. So he's wearing a suit. May try to do sleepy yoga. No melting, please. It's very chill. You're enjoying it. I'm glad. One of my things, I want to do more drawy streams. I want to do more draw throughs and boss brushes, Falls AU, etc. It's fun playing games, but games is very much the sort of the easy way out, if that makes sense. It's the simplest thing, but I, you know, often more proud of the drawing streams and draw throughs and stuff. And if I don't do them, I can't be, can I? What do I want to do a draw through of? The two main contenders are Metal Gear Solid 2 and Final Fantasy X. The last one we did was Final Fantasy 9, so it makes more sense to do Metal Gear Solid 2. But also Metal Gear Solid 2 is a time. I did a while ago. I did consider doing a draw through of a series of Doctor Who. Maybe that would be a bit Doctor Who overload, but it's an idea for the future, like Series 10 or something. My self-contained one. Rearrange this because of the balloon.
Who are these people?
This is the Family of Blood. This is from a two-parter based off a novel that was written when Doctor Who wasn't on anything, called Human Nature. I believe the novel was called, as was the first episode. The second episode was called Family of Blood. And it's an episode where the Doctor has to hide as a human by hiding everything about himself and his personality. And the fact that his DNA basically, it's a whole thing. He basically turns into a human. And there's a thing, there's an alien after them. The aliens possess humans who happen to look like a man, woman, boy, and girl. There's also scarecrows involved. It's a good couple of episodes because it's the whole thing of like the Doctor isn't really there. There's this man that looks like the Doctor, and in order for the Doctor to come back, that man has to die. It's an interesting one. I like it. Also has scarecrows, and I like scarecrows. Martha's in it. She gets pushed around and sidelined. Again, that's kind of the point, but it's still bad. It feels bad. You know, it's like the third episode of the series I'm watching at the moment. It's called Rosa. It's all about Rosa Parks. It's set in the 1950s in America. It goes through the daily life of Rosa Parks and the things that she had to put up with and the intense racism that was going on there, and it feels awful. It's supposed to feel awful, so it's successful, but it doesn't stop it feeling awful. You know, good job, I hate it, kind of thing. The thing I really wanted to try and capture was the boy here. Boy. His face, his smile. He's got such a good evil smile. It's iconic. Did it bother to cover the fact that the whole bus thing was planned? Because people like to forget that. Oh, yeah, no, it went right into it, like the plan as to why she did that, the meetings with the group of people that she was in order to sort of organize these sorts of things. It went into, like, the planning of the bus routes themselves. Visited her at her job. It, like, if they had just made a documentary about Rosa Parks, I think it would have been better, and it wouldn't have been much different. The actual Doctor Who part of that episode is kind of non-existent. It's not really there. And it's not very good, the bit that is there. It's a surprisingly faithful representation, as far as my personal knowledge is. A surprisingly deep and faithful representation of Rosa Parks's protest. And life at that time. I was going to look up the Family of Blood for you, so that I can show you the face of the child, because it's iconic. Where good pick? Show me good pick, please. It's showing me completely unrelated episodes of Doctor Who. Why are you doing? There they are. There's the Family of Blood. And that kid is having a great time mugging at the camera every single second that he possibly can. Pulling his faces, being evil. He's had a great time. Good for him. There's another one. Anyway. Sometimes you can tell an actor's having fun, and I like that. This would be a great time for the Anthony Ainley Master to turn up in the randomizer, but it probably won't. Family of Blood themselves as villains, probably not all that interesting. Again, it's more of a story about people and scarecrows. So they will go with the Axons. No, they're kind of, they're more iconic than that. They'll go with the monks. They go up in B. I'll put them in B. I'm nice like that. It also has the wonderful trope in Doctor Who of, I'm the Doctor. I don't kill people. I'm nicer than that. I'm kinder. So what I'll do is I'll trap all of these people in various ways so that they are eternally tortured. But can never die. So I'm the good one. Cassandra again? If it's Cassandra again, I will draw human Cassandra. Okay, what do we got? Akaten. The hell is Akaten? Oh, the Rings of Akaten, yes. Speaking of episodes I just didn't get. So in Final Fantasy IX, there's a super boss called Ozma. And I really like Ozma, because it's weird that in most Final Fantasies and most JRPGs, when you have a super boss, it's like a big dragon. Or like just a giant monster that's looming over you, and it's got evil eyes and big teeth and huge limbs and stuff. And Ozma's just a ball. It's just a ball. It's so out of place and weird. It's just a ball. Akaten's also just a ball. It's kind of a sun, sort of. Sun? Black hole thing? I don't really know what's going on with it. But it's like a kind of evil thing that it demands sacrifice of memories and life and experiences in order to be sated. It has a weird evil face. Gotta go. Have a good, Kiro. Hope you had a lovely time, and I hope your day is cool and fun and full of chocolate. Ball. The big bad bouncy evil ball. It's more of a sun, I think. I can't really remember too much about this episode because it wasn't great. It's the first episode I can remember that was like, what if the Doctor put in a lot of effort to save the problem, but actually Clara solves it? Ah, wouldn't that be interesting? 30 times in a row. What if Clara is actually the hero here, always? This was an early Clara episode. It may have coloured my opinion. There's also like a thing in the top-rated speeches of Doctor Who. There is a speech in this episode about the Doctor willing to give up his memories and lifetimes because it will probably explode this thing because he's just so storied and lived and loved. Or whatever, and there's a big speech that Matt Smith gives about it, and at the time I thought it was overblown and silly, and then I found out people love it, and I'm like, what? I could have sworn we would all agree this was, like, stupid. But I guess not. As a villain, doesn't really do anything. Also, I think it turns out that actually Akaten's fine, and there's like a parasite in it that's the problem. I don't. Are you ghastly? Okay, let me give you a sense of scale, because the speech is done by the Doctor, who is like here. And there's like wisps, big old wisps going into him. Big ghastly. Right. It is a speech where he shouts Britishly because the 11th Doctor tends to do that. Yes, it is. How did you know? Yeah, not my favourite. There is one good Doctor Who like speech that goes on too long of the Doctor shouting Britishly, and that is Peter Capaldi in the Zygon inversion. He does a very good anti-war speech. Big fan of that. Akaten is there. I don't know, the idea of a sun that eats memories is kind of fun. I guess. I'm just being a contrarian putting it there. Let's put it like half. There we go. I'm just being mean because people like it and I don't. Munch crunch. Them some tasty memories. Cool. That's Akaten. Swing! Crawl! Speaking of giant things. Crawl. The hell does Crawl look like? Like a big squid, isn't it? Something like that. I'm gonna draw a big squid. It's got big tentacles. I am Crawl. Splash. Here are the houses of the natives. Oh no. Kroll smash. Kroll is... Kroll's a weird story. It's The Power of Kroll, I believe, is the episode. Is that third Doctor? No, fourth Doctor. Fourth Doctor. And it generally seems to be one of those like, oh, it's anti-colonial, like companies coming in, taking over the land from the natives, exploiting it for money, so on and so forth. This angers the spirit of Kroll, who will wreak havoc on the invaders. But what actually it transpires is that Kroll is just a giant animal that destroys things because it's upset. It's not really the spirit of vengeance or anything. So it also ends up destroying a bunch of stuff for the natives. So I'm like, kind of mixed messaging. Don't really know what this episode's about. But it's fun to say Kroll. Also, apparently, the natives were played by actors who were covered entirely in green paint. And the one thing I know about that, and the reason I'm bringing it up, is because apparently that green paint was very difficult to remove, and so a lot of the actors just walked around green for a week. Fun times. Brawl. Don't really have much to say about this episode. Oh, I remember something else from this episode. This is the episode where the Fourth Doctor manages to escape binds that are holding them. There's got like rope binding hands together and stuff like that. A bunch of people trapped in a room. That room has glass in the ceiling, and so what the Doctor does is scream really loudly to break the glass, and then use that glass to cut the ropes. Because that's just the thing that's something the writers can put in the script. And instead of like, when I say scream really loudly, you might be thinking like a person screaming really loudly and not a high-pitched electronic screech. Shatter that glass ceiling. Oh, that was the preview for the 13th Doctor. That was not a subtle metaphor. But you know, we got Jodie Whittaker, who was a delight. Sploosh, Kroll smash. I don't know why I put trees in the background. Kroll smash. Yeah, this was another either puppeteered or stop motion one. Clearly on a miniature, which is good. Always good value for old sci-fi and horror. Kroll smash. And by good value, I mean very cheap. Kroll. You're sort of a bad environmentalist metaphor and anti-colonial statement. Not much else really personality-wise. It's fun to say Kroll. Is it going to go higher because it's fun to say Kroll? Kroll. C for Kroll. Okay, I'll do a couple more, and then we'll all collapse in heat. Or because of the heat, not in heat. You know what I mean. Swoosh! We've got... Kiro's gone, just in time for the Vashta Narada. Right, sure. I'll draw the spacesuit, because that's what everyone recognizes. Rip Kiro. Nightmare fuel time, yeah! They've probably got backpacks or something, I can't remember. Should probably learn how to draw a skull at some point, that's alright, don't worry about it. The Vashta are flesh-eating microbes, which do not like the light. In fact, they like the shadow, and they look like shadow. They are shadows that eat you. That's the spooky thing there. This was back in Stephen Moffat's pre-showrunner era, where he could write good spooky things. Making things with your hands is good for brain? What? No, that sounds like a lie. That's not how brains work. Brains require more screen. Just gonna do that. Can't stop me. So yeah, if you happen to notice you've got more than one shadow, bad news. You're about to be killed by flesh-eating microbes. Angry skull. So this was somebody who was eaten inside their spacesuit, and their spacesuit is now being piloted by the microbes for reasons I don't quite explain. I don't quite understand. Saying the last thing that they said, which is stored in the memory bank on the spacesuit. Also, they normally live in a forest, and they're perfectly happy living in the forest. It's perfectly fine. Unfortunately, people wanted to make books, so books are evil. And those forests got cut down, turned into books, and the microbes came along. So it's a library that kills you. Brains require AI and screens and the mind of evil. Oh, no. Yeah, if you have two shadows, you're about to be eaten. Or there's two light sources on you. What are you saying? Saying I can't trust Doctor Who? The Vashta Nerada are kind of iconic. It's a fun idea of... It's the simple... You know... It's the simple horror. You take something quite mundane and you turn it into something spooky. Count your shadows, you know. I never really cared much for the episodes because they're sort of split between what's going on in the library and what's going on in a virtual reality. It did introduce River Song, and that's a kind of compelling plot thread that goes on for a very long time and doesn't do an awful lot with it, but whatever. That's got nothing to do with the Vashta Nerada, though. So, they are going to go... They were going to go sort of... Let's put them in A. They're cool. I like them. They're cool. They ain't no Missy, and they ain't got the personality of Cassandra, but they're pretty cool. They're on potato level. Spoilers. And more Moffatisms. Okay, should we say one more? I'll say one more. Or two, if I'm feeling happy. Or three. What do we got? The Rani! Kato Mara's Rani. We started with a Time Lord, we end with a Time Lord. But we didn't start with a Time Lord, we started with the Jaggerfest, but we're going to forget about that. The Rani is an interesting idea for a character who came back in the last series and was squandered. But originally, it was, what if... So we have the Doctor, right? Doctor is a Time Lord going around saving people, being nice, being good, doctory things, right? Then you have the Master, who goes, the whole thing is like domination, being control. I will control you, sort of thing. And it's compared to the sort of Sherlock Holmes, Moriarty kind of vibe. The Rani can't be asked with any of that. She's got experiments to do. And she don't care who gets mutated or killed in the process. She is science. Evil scientist. Always a good. Now, what does Kato Mara look like? Big hair. Whoa, like that. Yes. She has very mal eyebrows. And shoulder pads, of course. The 80s. Yeah, so her whole thing is just like, she's the evil scientist vibe. and is very much not up for the shenanigans of the Doctor and the Master, whatever those two are doing. They're clearly in love. Just kiss already and leave me alone. She kind of says as much in her first her first outing, which I think is kind of funny. Happy Prid, everyone. But yeah. I like her. She only appeared in 2 episodes of the classic series, and then, depending on your perspective, 1 episode of the modern series. So not really a thing. The main thing about the Rani that's worth pointing out is, for literally decades, every time there was a mysterious character in Doctor Who hadn't been revealed yet, everyone went, "It's the Rani!" And it just became a running joke that it was never the Rani. And then they actually made the Rani, which kind of ruined the joke. So, no, that's right. Rolling her eyes. This is a better Kato Mara than that was a Michelle Gomez, but still not good. Well, that would be a fun thing. Drawing someone from memory and then looking up reference and redrawing them and seeing what you got wrong. I should do that. That could be fun. On stream? Maybe. Off stream? Definitely. I can't remember if she had this bigger hair, but I think she had this bigger hair, and that's what's important. It was the 80s. Big hair was in style at the time. Probably not like this, but, you know. It's the eyebrows that do it. It's getting further away from Kato Mara the more I draw, so, not quite up with it with Missy, but you appreciate the vibe. One day I'll watch episodes and learn who Missy is. It's again one of those unfortunate things where, like, her first outing wasn't very good, but it got better, so... And by the time it was at the end, it was so good, it made me cry. Doctor Who has made me cry more times than I would care to admit, but Missy definitely did. And then they brought the Master back and just never bothered addressing that. And I'm very upset. Yeah, this is not a very good Rani, but I'll know who it was based on context clues. The eyebrows, primarily. I like the Rani. I've only seen 2 episodes that she's in, because she was only in 2 episodes of the classic era. One of those episodes was good. The other of those episodes was bad. But I like her. She, again, not a Missy, but a near Missy. Get there. I really need to redo this. Missy is so bad. That's fine, though. That's fine. Malbrows. That was the thing. Hey, Missy, how you doing? That was the thing when Missy came along, like a whole series-long teaser of this, you know, feminine character with a lot of control over what's happening and those arch eyebrows and makeup and so on and so forth. And they're like, "Oh, that's clearly the Rani. That's clearly the Rani." And I was like, "No, it's the Master." But also, we're gonna call her Missy because Time Lords do not really put much emphasis on gender, but the writers do. It's fine. But yeah. Well, here's some stuff. I will, hang on, where's the thing? Let's give them some space for the in-betweeners. Because I may come back to this later. There are... I mean, how many did we do? Like 20? I forgot about this guy. I like this one. This one's cool. Yeah, how many did we do? 4, 8, 12, 15, 18, 23. We did 23 of a possible 105. So we could come back to this later. It's fairly evenly distributed. I'm quite pleased. I was worried that it would just be things I like and things I hate. But I'm sort of convincing myself to sort of fill niches of like, actually, do you know what, Krull? I like Krull. Cassandra throwing so much shade at Rani. Oh god, would they hate each... Oh, they would hate each other, of course. Of course they would. There was part of my mind that was like, would they work together? No. A, the Rani does not work together with anyone. And B, Cassandra also would not take orders. So that's a no. But yeah, we've got Girl Boss Corner at the top. We've got potato tier of things that aren't amazing, but I'm just kind of endeared towards them. We've got the ideas that were good but weren't particularly important or well executed. We've got too much bubble wrap tier. We've got this lot, and then crab. There's the Mind of Evil, do not eat. And then finally an F tier, drippy things that hang from the ceiling. So, yeah. That's Doctor Who in a nutshell. I hope those of you who know nothing about Doctor Who have now been elucidated as to what the series is and what it's about. I'm sure this all makes a lot of sense. If it does, I clearly haven't done my job very well. But yeah. Jump crunch one schlump. No! You leave the Mind of Evil alone! Gonna swoosh away as punishment. But yeah. I hope people had a nice. It is hot. I hope where you are it is not hot, and if it is, I hope it stops being hot. Quick smart. Yes. Stream will return, assuming people haven't completely melted, on Saturday with Grim Hollow. I believe the peak of the heat wave is Friday, and Saturday's going to be cooler. There's going to be storms and all that sort of jazz. So we can get rid of that there. So Saturday should be okay, but I would not blame friends for wanting to delay it. So that's fair. And then Sunday Doodling, Cheap has already called off tomorrow's stream, so we might just have like a chill out in Discord. Yeah. throwing ice across the pond. That's much appreciated. It will have melted by the time it comes here, but hopefully it will have a vague positive effect. Thursday movie night? Might have Thursday movie night. For silly asylum movies, perhaps. Mayhap. Thursday movie night. Tell you what, I'm very thirsty, I don't know why. Anywho, thank you for coming. Again, I'm contemplating maybe doing more draw through and or this sort of thing streams. It's awkward to know how to fit it in because I don't really want to just play a game once a week because I'll just lose track of everything that's going on, but we'll see. We'll work stuff out. It's fine. Can't be Thursday, still Wednesday. Tish. I'll be here all night. 10 bob. Thank you for your contribution. Words and things. Anything else to say? Are we all done? Are we all melted? I think we might have all melted. Which is fine. Perfectly reasonable. You're welcome. No, you're welcome. And I'm welcome. We're all welcome to sleep. Goodbye, everybody. Bye-bye.